Listen them out for us.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 30th Personnel Administration and Higher Education Committee. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First order of business, motion to approve the minutes of the prior meeting. It's Mayday. First, second,
I said, did you give me one?
we need a second. We can't
Oh,
have the
sorry.
first Do the second. Supervisor Molino, thank you very much. Any changes, comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Privilege of the floor. Anyone having any comments for the committee this morning? Seeing none, we'll move on. Sudi Adirondack. See Dr. Duffy, maybe she's getting ready for her retirement and vacation coming up pretty soon. But we'll wish her the best when we see her next. Items to be discussed by our human resources. Okay.
Morning.
Good morning.
So my first item is the usual report that I bring. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them, or I'm happy to move on. The next two items, B and C, essentially there's a vacant civil service assistant position in my department and an occupied part-time human resource assistant. What I would like to do is flop the hours, have the occupied human resource assistant move from 30 hours a week to full-time and the vacant position reduced down to 30 hours. My part-time person is willing and able to do full-time hours, so I would like to offer that to her. And then if we do fill that civil service position at a later date, it would be at the part-time.
So without objection, can we move B and C together? And if so, Supervisor Molino first, the motion to bring to the floor. Supervisor Driscoll on the second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that carries. Jackie, item D.
Sure, this is another kind of just a technical change. We have 3 per diem positions in our organizational structure: test administrator 2, test administrator 3. I would like to eliminate 2 and 3, use the test administrator position as a bucket position. I've met with Tammy DiLorenzo and Rob Lynch as to how it'll work with the budget, so that I'm just not limited to 3 human beings. I would like to have a pool of people because nobody wants to work every Saturday test. And so we can put out, a schedule, couple of months, say, here are all the test dates of my 5, 6, 7 test administrators who wants to work which days. Just hoping that it'll give us a little more flexibility, because people like the idea of doing the Saturday test for a while, but after about a year, it's tiresome.
Sold. Get sold.
Motion to bring this to the floor. Nate, Frank, thank you very much. Any questions? I have one, Jackie. You're going to eliminate number 2 and 3.
Eliminate 2 and 3 and move all the money into the bucket.
Oh, no other questions? I will call a question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries also. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Amanda, clerk of the board.
I have 2 items for you today. The first one is a request to amend resolution number 23 of 2024, which appoints members to the Warren Washington County IDA and Civic Development Corporation. Dave O'Brien has resigned and Washington County wants to appoint James Nolan in his place. So this is really Washington County's appointment, but because it's the Warren Washington County IDA, Warren County has to adopt a mirroring resolution to be effective. And Washington County approved that resolution at their last board meeting.
Ben, thank you. Second, Mayday. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries also.
Okay, my next item is a request for a transfer of funds in the amount of $6,500 from the contingent account to the board consulting fees budget to cover the cost of 2024 ban advisory services. They were not budgeted before because we didn't know we were going to ban anything.
So let's bring this to the floor. Motion, please. Nate, Frank, thank you very much. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries also. Thank you, Amanda. Mr. Colvin. Saves you 30 seconds worth of discussion. Oh, there he is.
Morning. So the only thing I have today is a request to remove money from the computer reserve fund to Board of Elections. They're getting a new voter registration system, so we need to get some new computers to move them along.
So I have a motion to bring this forward. Supervisor Molino, Supervisor Mayday. Any questions? Comments? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries also. Thank you, Mike.
I got it. Any questions? Thank you.
Moving on to our county administrator, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two issues today. One is 5A is a request to authorize the chairman of the board to execute a 5-year master internship affiliation agreement with SUNY Adirondack. We had discussions about this, and the primary issue that we needed to resolve was how we would cover the workers' comp insurance under an agreement with the college, and we resolved those issues successfully. So I'd like your support to approve this internship.
Bring this forward. Vice Driscoll, any questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 5B it's basically an oversight on our part. I apologize for that. We came forward when we restructured the planning department. We had an organizational structure. We briefed to economic growth and development, and we've talked to a number of you about it. And we wanted to create 2 principal planner positions. However, we did not do the necessary work to create the second principal planner position administratively. And so we would like to do that now. The person is on board filling an assistant planner position that is currently funded at $78,367, but the salary for the position is $81,644. And there is enough money, and because we deleted the overall chief of the planning department position when Wayne Lamothe retired, there is enough funding in the organization to cover this salary change. We would like to make it effective May 28th so that we can pay the person who's on board back to that date.
Motion to bring this to the floor. Nate, Gene, thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? None? Good job, Nate. Or, I'm sorry, Ethan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Item 6 has been withdrawn by the county treasurer. Item 7, referral from legislative rules and government operations, request by Harry Black to bring forward a new position of pistol permit clerk. Supervisor Thomas on the first, Supervisor Driscoll on the second. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll call that question. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Moving over to the county attorney. We have 45 minutes.
See how much I can give back. If I could, maybe we can start with the discussion item 2A, Warren County Risk and Safety, Property and Casualty Risk Management Programming. Over the last few months, the county administrator and I have been discussing.
Larry, can you speak into the mic a little bit? It's a little hard.
Sure.
Thanks.
We've been discussing the opportunity and possibility of, well, actually, we've been discussing the need of the county to look into developing a countywide resource which would be able to identify, measure, manage risk across the entire county, which would exclude workers' compensation risk.
Mhm.
Basically, we're talking about casualty and property liability issues. Currently, we do not appear to have in-house expertise in the area of property and casualty coverage, to include assessing liability risks, and most importantly, really a plan to proactively manage and provide a resource to departments and employees to manage that risk going forward. The reason for the need would be a desire to decrease costs countywide. First would be to have a in-house expert who can who actively understands the insurance market, coverage and coverage requirements, to assist and aid in the negotiation with our broker for coverage on an annual basis. Two would be developing plans that would promote a higher level of insurability for the county, which would lead to the potential for reduction of rates into the future. And then the third would be the more practical. I will talk louder rather than. And then third is really to try to reduce the incidents that create liability in Warren County through those same programs of risk mitigation, identifying risks. And really, that's on two sides of the house. That's our physical structure risks as well as the activities that we undertake. There's some other areas of risk as well, contractual risks, being more involved and engaged, or having somebody involved and engaged in the exposures we have through our contracts with vendors. There's also an HR piece of exposure and risks, employer, employee, or employee customer risks and liabilities in the state of New York. So there's a whole host of areas where my office gets to respond in a reactive way when a claim comes in, but not in a proactive way, in an effort to reduce the risk in a meaningful way through a plan at the county level. The thought process would be that the position, if there's an interest, would be a part-time position designed really to create this role. And it would be 24 to 36 months in duration, so that the county could hopefully gauge the results of the program, especially for cost savings. So we could compare where we are now as compared to where we are at the end of that term. And then there's some other short-term and long-term objectives that would flow from it. I guess the reason we bring it up for discussion is I perceive from my first day that there is a need to be more proactive in managing our risks, in managing the claims that come in, and to interacting in a more constructive way with our insurance carrier and broker to assist us in reducing liability and our rates through a higher increase in our insurance profile. And if there's an interest in looking at that in more detail by the committee, we would move forward with a proposed job description that would be a part-time position, again, geared to a 2 to 3 year window to try to create the position, provide the board with policies and procedures for risk management. Again, separate from workers' comp and self-insurance, but filling that gap that's outside of self-insurance. So if there's an interest in that, we can move forward and have something prepared for next month's committee meeting to look at more specifics of what that position would be.
John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. County Attorney and I have had a number of discussions about this, and initially, we did look at self-insurance and workers' comp see if they could possibly pick this up. They don't have the expertise necessary, and we believe this position will pay for itself over the long run in savings to the county. So I support it, and we'd appreciate your support as well.
Ben?
I guess, thank you. I guess my question is, there's no type of private businesses that do this type of work. It would be in the best interest to have an in-house individual as opposed to a private business that might do this type of work. I don't know that for if there's any.
Yes, there's a number of different counties and even cities across New York State that have this type of position in-house to do just that work. But having somebody who can actually be, who's part of the county workforce, who can interact with the different departments, not really the department heads, but from my perspective, I would imagine it would be more the actual
File.
line employees
Yeah.
who are doing the work to assist and aid and provide an additional resource and training to make them, to help them be more efficient, aware of safety, and identify where resources are needed because there's ongoing concerns or issues.
And we believe it's more cost effective to do it as a part-time position than to go with an actual contract. But after 2 years or so, the person that we bring someone on board to do this, the recommendation may be, okay, you should do this by contract. So that could be something we determine through the process.
I think it could go two ways. It could go by contract, or it could go, this is the established position, and now it should be a full-time position for X, Y, and Z reasons. But we're looking for somebody who, to really with the skill set to help us create it and get it up and running, not to be the long-term person to do it, if that makes sense.
Any other questions? Nate?
Will they report to your office?
We've had some discussions about that. I believe they fall under the county attorney's office for purposes of administration and supervision. So, yeah.
Any other? You know, in my brief tenure during the board, I've always sensed that the board is risk averse and understanding of some of our opportunities and our risks, I think are highly beneficial to us. So what's the privilege of the committee?
I agree.
Kevin?
I think we move forward. I think it's anytime you can take more risk out of what we're doing, the better.
Any other comments? Anyone? Ben?
No, I agree.
Anyone with concerns? Seeing none, all right, we'll see you in a moment.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. At this time, I would ask the committee to consider a request for a motion to enter into an executive session pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 105, subparagraph 1D, for discussions of potential pending and current litigation. As stated in the agenda that's been published, and also to provide attorney-client communications to the board pursuant to Section 108(3). A part of those discussions will be regarding the 8A1 request for a resolution involving 2 federal lawsuits that are ongoing at this time. And then the remaining discussion of the discussion items will be under subsection B1, C, D, and F, which are 3 lawsuits where there is no insurance coverage. Under 2A, which is 1 lawsuit where there is insurance coverage. And then to address 3E, which is an administrative complaint recently received by one county. And I would ask if it's the pleasure of the committee to allow the county treasurer to remain present for those discussions.
Of course, Larry, if I might also add, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. You go.
I was just wondering if we could have a brief session on personnel. Also, in addition.
All right, so under 105,
Subparagraph 1F.
for the purpose of promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, or other matters affecting an individual employee.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd also request that during that time, I know the treasurer has something she would like to discuss in the pending item. We'd like to do that, recommend we do that in executive session. I'd like to call back the deputy treasurer and the treasurer's employee during that time. We have that discussion.
Okay, so Kevin on the motion in a second. Nate, so all those in favor of entering into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, that motion carries.